Here we go. Godfrey's challenge. Let's learn about Godfrey's challenge, because I do not know much about Godfrey. I do not know. I don't know much about Godfrey. So, yeah, we'll see.
It's crazy that the last time I talked about Godfrey was 7 months ago in my like father like son video, where we discussed the complicated relationship between Godfrey and his own son Morgott. Our fight with him is a defining moment in the game, and he is the last thing standing in the way from us finally understanding what waits inside the Erd Tree. Since we as a Tarnished were brought back to the Lands Between, we have had one purpose: to seek the Elden Ring and mend it back together. But we aren't the only Tarnished to return. Hoarah, Goldmask, Fia, Dung Eater, and Gideon, just to name a few, have also been brought back to the Lands Between. Now, the question I'd like to ask today is, why were these individuals brought back? That could make for a huge video, which really isn't my style. Today, let's focus on Godfrey, also known as Hoarah, and discuss his journey, intentions, and honestly, where he might have been all this time leading up to our fight with him at the foot of the Erd Tree. Make sure to like, subscribe, all that good YouTube stuff. I'm trying to upload more often to get back in the good graces of the algorithm gods before DLC is announced. So if you'd like to see more videos and give Joy some more tummy rubs, I'd appreciate it. With all that said, let's talk about Godfrey, the first Elden Lord.
Long and hard didst thou fight.
Yeah, then he was replaced with Radagon.
Tarnished warrior, spurned by the grace of gold. Be assured, the Elden Ring resteth close at hand.
I've always wondered why Godfrey tells us this, for us to be assured that the Elden Ring is nearby. The definition of spurned is the past tense of spurn, which is to reject with disdain or contempt. Makes me wonder if he knows our intent more than we actually do, since he was our leader at one point or another. Do we both have disdain for the Elden Ring since its guidance of grace was taken away from us and we were banished from the Lands Between? Maybe we want revenge, or to prove to Queen Marika and the Golden Order that we do deserve its grace once again. So I guess Godfrey assuring us that the Elden Ring is nearby makes sense, because at this point in the game, no one knows where Queen Marika is, and in turn, the Elden Ring, since she is the vassal for the Elden Ring itself. Godfrey is tarnished as well. We can see from the opening cutscene that he died outside the Lands Between, just as it was prophesied by Queen Marika herself.
In Marika's own words, my lord,
is that the Omen Hunter
warriors,
mask?
I divest each of thee of thy grace. With thine eyes dimmed, ye will be driven from the Lands Between. Ye will wage war in a land afar, where ye will live and die.
So Godfrey must have been brought back, or given his guidance back, for the same purpose as us, to restore the Elden Ring. He's definitely strong enough to defeat all the demigod shardbearers who have refused to return to the Erd Tree and mend back the Elden Ring. They have all refused to do this for their own individual reasons.
Hell yeah.
But why were we, a Tarnished of no renown at all, were having the most success against the demigods? Were we the only Tarnished who actually tried? Were we just the first one to eat Shardbearer? Answering these questions is pretty much impossible.
I mean, look at me. Clearly I'm a prime specimen, right? I am the main character.
Definitely doesn't feel relative in the Lands Between. It's almost like different time frames have compressed into one another, hovering the world in ruin mixed with creatures and beings from different ages, making the Lands Between a sort of purgatory. Sorry, I'm probably thinking too deep about this, at least for this video. So when Godfrey says the words, spurned by the grace of gold, it reminds me of Godric's dialogue that seems to be obsessed with his forefathers and having them witness what he has done and what he has become.
Forefathers one and all, bear witness! Great Godfrey, didst thou witness? I am the Lord of all that is golden, and one day we'll return together to our home, bathed in rays of gold
All right.
So what is this home bathed in rays of gold exactly? Well, I think we can learn exactly where from this ghost spirit located just outside the Fourth Church of America in the Weeping Peninsula, where he says, "Oh, there it is, the tower. Finally, I can return to our home bathed in rays of gold." Now, for the longest time, I thought this ghost was looking at the wandering mausoleum and suggesting that a home bathed in rays of gold had something to do with the afterlife of some kind. But looking closer, the ghost is referring to and staring directly at a tower at the top of the hill, which is conveniently called
Isn't that where
the Tower of Return. If you climb
like
to the
a-
top and open the
port
trap
there?
chest, you will be sent to the Divine Bridge site of grace inside the royal capital city of Leyndell, which must be what this ghost and Godric were referring to as their home bathed in rays of gold. Now, I've wanted to mention this for some time, but just haven't found the right moment to do so. But doesn't the city's design look kind of fake in a way? For example, the gold paint on the rooftops of Leyndell is chipping off, sort of like it has been painted on and not actually gold. It's very interesting and could play into the discussion that the Golden Order isn't as strong as they try to portray themselves to be. I think that's the main theme of Corrin and Goldmask's questline, but this could be something for us to discuss in
100 and
another
something
video.
hours.
In regards to Godfrey, he has done everything he can to become the Elden Lord. Based on his own words, becoming Elden Lord is warranted with strength. And Godfrey is pretty much the perfect strength build. Heavy armor, heavy axe, heavy attacks, where he can quite literally smash down and pull up the earth around him. He's dedicated his entire life to being the strongest warrior and conducting himself as a worthy lord. Godfrey's icon says that when he vowed to become a lord, he took the beast regent Sarash upon his back to suppress the ceaseless lust for battle that raged within. His armor set says that he led the war against the giants and faced the Storm Lord alone. Godfrey battled anyone and everyone who opposed the Golden Order, and once his last great enemy fell, the hue from Godfrey's eyes faded. His guidance of grace was taken away from him. There was no one left to fight. So
Sad.
Queen Marika banished him and his warriors from the lands between. I believe she did this.
He did all of his side quests, and she's like, "Yeah, you don't have anything else to do." And fucking was like, "Yeah, you're no longer a suitable mate. Excuse me." And then she just kind of ends up being with herself from then on. That's brutal. That is, ouch.
This so that they could continue to find and fight worthy opponents. That seems to be the life of a warrior, with grace or not. The Remembrance of Hoarlu says that when Godfrey, first Elden Lord, was robbed of his grace, becoming tarnished, he took with him his kinfolk and left the lands between. After the long march of the tarnished came to an end, Godfrey divested himself of kingship, becoming a simple warrior once more. What I take from this, and for you this may be different, is that the Golden Order didn't need Godfrey's strength anymore, since all of the worthy opponents had been defeated.
All
I
of them
believe it was at
pawns.
this point that Queen Marika started to question the Golden Order's intentions and started to test its own strength.
I declare mine intent to search the depths of the Golden Order through understanding of the proper way. Our faith, our grace is increased. Those blissful early days of blind belief are long past.
Eventually, as we all know, Queen Marika shattered the Elden Ring, spreading shards of its power throughout the lands between, and during the Shattering War, the strongest were able to obtain great runes that they used for their own purposes. Maybe this was Queen Marika's true intention when shattering the Elden Ring, to test the world's faith toward it and see what those who claim their allegiance to the Golden Order would actually do when its power was truly tested. I'm coming up with a lot of other video ideas while making this one, aren't I?
Yeah.
Hear me, demigods. My children, beloved, make of thyselves that which ye desire. Be it a lord, be it a god. But should ye fail to become aught at all, ye will be forsaken, amounting only to sacrifices.
So this is the point I'm starting to understand about, honestly, the entire game. It's all a challenge. That's all the Golden Order, the Elden Ring, the Guidance of Grace, the Greater Will, whatever you want to refer to it as, wants. Where does the Guidance of Grace point us toward the entire game? A challenge. Not even necessarily towards a shard bearer. Grace points us toward Castle Morn, as an example, to fight.
It's all a simulation. That's it. That's all it is. The higher ups are just figuring, what happens if we do this? What happens if we do that? Do you think your guy's gonna win?
Against a misbegotten and receive a sword. A challenge nonetheless, but not really toward anything of great importance in the grand scheme of it all. However, this is the only time it does go off course from the shard bearers, so I don't know if that's enough to fully state that it's all for the challenge of battle, but even so, even if they are a shard bearer, it's all a massive challenge to overcome.
If the rays of grace signal the castle, then the Elden Ring beckons you. As an ally by pact, I pray that you are fit to face the challenge presented by the ring. Forgive me. I've been testing you to determine if the Elden Ring would truly have you, if you had the mettle to endure this long and arduous path. It seems my worries were unfounded. Torrent had your measure from the very start.
This all reminds me of Godfrey and his entire relationship with the Golden Order. He battled for the Golden Order until there was nothing left to fight against. As soon as all of his worthy enemies fell, the hue faded from his eyes and he was no longer needed. I believe it is possible that if becoming Elden Lord is truly warranted with strength, then Guidance of Grace is simply seeking out discourse or other challenges in battle to become a victorious warrior. Grace shows the Tarnished where they can find glory and strength in battle. It points to all forms of challenge to either die or obtain more power. Maybe it's simply a way of living for a warrior, and our final test is against Godfrey himself at the foot of the Erd Tree. But where was Godfrey this entire time?
Yeah.
Why is he just now coming back to the Erd Tree?
That's a good question.
I don't think he was alive until now. He was likely still in the Badlands, where he battled over and over again as a normal warrior until he finally fell, which is what I believe is being depicted in this painting in the opening cinematic. Grace was waiting for a worthy opponent for Godfrey to fight against and prove his strength to Queen Marika and the Golden Order once again. They gave Godfrey his Guidance of Grace back, he came back to the Lands Between, and as soon as Godfrey sees his now fallen son Morgott, the Guidance of Grace changes its direction to point directly at us.
Yep.
We are
Hell
here
yeah.
to be Godfrey's new challenge.
Yep.
We both have the same intention to brandish the Elden Ring, but there can only be one Elden Lord, and we must battle against each other. A crown is warranted with strength, and we must prove it to not only the Golden Order, but to ourselves as a Tarnished warrior, as those who seek to become the new Elden Lord. Who is the strongest in the Lands Between, and who deserves to enter the Erd Tree and seek audience with Queen Marika to brandish the Elden Ring in any way that we see fit. And this entire situation is created by the challenge that the Guidance of Grace seeks for all of the Tarnished.
Alas, I am returned to be granted audience once more. Upon my name as Godfrey, the first Elden Lord.
But certainly not the last. Oh, that was cool. No, it's, I didn't really know a whole lot about Godfrey. I mean, there's still so many questions. There's still so many questions about Godfrey. And it is kind of crazy how many demigod children there are, I guess, and just seeing how they're all in the end, it all comes back to Marika. Even through Radagon. Oh, yeah, he definitely had 99 strength. 100%. 100%, yeah. 100% 99. It's just kind of a shame that Godfrey's son ended up being an omen. You know? It's like, damn. Fuck me, right? That sucks. That sucks so bad. But I guess that's what well, sons up. Cause like isn't so it would be Morgott and Moog? What? What? You had such a big breakfast. Don't you give those hungry eyes at me. So, it was Margaret and Moog, though, right? They were they twins? Margaret and Moog, yeah. Or Morgott. Morgott and Moog. Yeah, Moog is cool as hell. It would be so cool to cosplay as Moog. That would be quite the prosthetics. Oh my god. You would need to make a whole ass helmet and attach. Oh man, imagine adhering that to your face. That is upsetting. You know, that might also be part of the reason why America got rid of Godfrey, because it's like, yeah, Morgott and Moog are both omens. I need something better. I need to move on. We cannot be having omen children. Hurt coming out, man. Could you imagine giving birth to something with horns? Like covered in horns? Spirally twisty horns? I mean, jeez. That's brutal. Well, Moog only has one eye. I can't play Elden Ring with one eye. I don't know if they gain horns after birth, actually. I'm not sure. Come up here, Bing. You want on my lap? Godwin turned out alright until he didn't. Yeah, that's true. That is true. I'm sure Ronnie appreciated that, though. Maybe they are, yeah. Yeah, you just don't use ranged stuff, no need for... Yeah! There you go. Ugh. Oh well, either way, sounds awful. Awful, I'm telling you. Awful.